Alright, so we're going to go into how to mount these seats in the first gen RX-7. So my buddy Nathan that cut these cut the driver's side pretty well. Passenger side needs a couple tweaks done to it, but that's fine. These don't need a whole lot of work on the driver's side, but there is some tweaks that are going to have to be made. So basically these were cut out of flat steel, just a mild steel. I believe it's 1/4 inch. They're cut with slots in it, so that way you could have used them and mounted through holes on the seats, and part of it was for weight reduction. I think it doesn't really matter if the slots are in there or not. The main thing is going to make sure that the center hole is going to be notched out for the rail connecting bolt itself, and I'll show you that in a second. So basically these are just flat plates that I'm going to have to bend. So this end is going to be bent down, this end is going to be bent down about 90 degrees, but I'll probably bend one side first, sit it in here, drill it out just a little bit. Like this slot needs to be a little bit wide. So I'm going to drill these out just a little bit so that these bolts fit through here, and then I'll get both this one and this one bent up, and then we'll get the driver's side one in first, as that's the more important one. And I'll kind of show you just some of the little mods that I make here to get these to work. Realistically, you don't need these. You could just buy some 1/4 inch strip steel and bend it over, and get your holes mounted and drilled, and it would be pretty easy as well. But I know this is going to save me a lot of time with what Nathan's already kind of got templated out here for me. So let's go ahead here. I will take these over to the vise, bend them, and then I will get the seat back over here. You guys won't have to watch me bend it. And we'll get the holes drilled out, get everything kind of set up, and I'll check back in here once I get the seat and show you how I prep that to make sure it's in the right location. Alright, real quick update here. I was able to actually shave off another about, let's say at least an inch. So basically these that I thought were the bottom of the rails and I couldn't go any lower were actually like a riser for the seat. I was able to unbolt these. This one I had to pull out all these little star nuts that kind of go in the side here, hold into these pivot points, and the pivot points are in there. But I figured out that these 11mm nuts actually go up and sit up in there with a washer. So if you take the rail, slide it back and forth, so you can see that one's all the way forward or backwards, this one's all the way forwards. It's backwards, I know. But if you push it one way or the other, you can actually get the seat to lower another at least an inch. That's actually a bit more than an inch for sure. So kind of a nice way to get the seat a little bit lower. I noticed, I'll throw up a picture here, that this seat was sitting a bit higher. So I went ahead and pulled those out, and I'm going to go weld this one in now. One other thing I'm going to note here for the wiring, this Takata airbag controller that's got these two little sensors on these rails, I'm going to pull off. I'm going to snip that out of the wiring harness here. I'm going to take out the wiring harness for the other airbag inflators, and the only thing that's going to be left in this wiring harness is going to be the seat heater itself. So that is the wiring on this one real quick. I'll go through and do a detailed one here after I'm done. Alright, so we've hit the point here now where I'm about ready to weld these seats to the brackets in the car. So I've cut out a bunch of time of me modifying the original design of the brackets that my buddy Nathan did. Just needed a bunch of mods here. I think the S2 seats might have been slightly different than the S1s. Not terribly different, but just enough to where those ones needed a lot of kind of chopping and bending and drilling and sawing and grinding and whatnot. So I have now modified these to work. So this first, let's go with this driver's side seat. So this one is, let's get a flashlight in here so I can kind of see what I'm talking about. So, way down in there, and there the flashlight fell. Way down in here, you can see that bracket and then you can see the actual RX-8 rail there. I need to weld those two things together. The main thing being that the rail on the RX-8 seat doesn't have anywhere on the bottom to bolt to. The other side we're not going to be able to see, but there's nowhere to bolt this seat down to that aftermarket rail in there. So I have to tack weld this seat to the rail and pull it out and then fully weld the rail to the seat, and then I'll be able to bolt with all 4 of the original mounting points for the first gen RX-7 into the car here. So I am going to cut here. I'm going to go to the welder, tack weld these seats onto the rails, and I will show you guys once I'm done with that kind of what it looks like once these are completely welded to the new rails, and then we can run over the wiring. Alright, I just finished up welding both sets of these brackets on here. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got the drivers closest to me here. This one is a total pain. This was way more work than the passenger side, honestly. The thing to keep in mind if you're going to weld brackets on here is remember that this is plastic. It's not very flammable, but you want to make sure that you don't melt it. A really good bead right there. But other than that, I just kind of tacked it on there in 2 spots in here because I didn't want to heat up the plastic too much. And then back here, the plastic ends about in here. So I tacked here, ran a bead, whatever. Front, I also have a bead down here. I'm not going to go through all the welds on both of these things. But basically, just got everything tacked onto there. Seam welded, specifically the ends. Wanted to make sure that those stay on. And the driver's side was a little bit more difficult. Passenger side here. Got some nice seam welds all the way down the track here. That end. This is the inside on the tunnel of the passenger side. You can tell by that long bracket there. So I wanted to make sure this one was seamed up real good. Had a bit of a rise at the end, but I didn't really care. This one also, the passenger side here, I was able to get that extra inch plus off of it. So it sits a lot lower, sits just like the driver's side now, so that's really nice. So the next step after this is to paint the bottom of these. I'm going to do that off camera. There's no point in you watching me spray paint. I'm basically just going to mask everything off and spray paint it all with like black Rust-Oleum. So I'm going to get that done tonight, and then after that point, I will check back in with you when we do the wiring segment to just kind of show how you can wire these things up pretty easily, neatly, with, I'm planning on 1 connector in order to get this done. So there you have it.